Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games and episode 66 of the Benefactor. We've been on a lot between myself, Kate, and some of our other Chaotics. We've been on Twitch a hell of a lot, and thankfully haven't been caught up by too much of the internet traffic. We're back for our Friday night, 8 p.m. Haven't really put out all of the various Discord invites yet, so don't expect everybody to be here just yet. But hopefully we'll be joined by the usual crowd. For those I can see already, hello. So, when we left off last episode, the guys threw me a bit of a curveball. I was kind of glad we got to the end of the session without me having to do what we're going to be doing in this session. And that is that we are going to be going to the isolated island nation of Oustran. This rich, beautiful, exotic location that's got this kind of Moroccan architecture is home to a number of people. You will find humans there, you'll find dwarves, you'll find tiefling, very few elves, for no other reason than I rolled random country creation stuff. But one thing that is there that you won't find anywhere else is a tribe of Tabaxi that are not in a form of isolation. Mostly Tabaxi in Eleria are somewhat xenophobic. They like to stay hidden. They don't like much in the way of commerce and travel into their lands, and they like to hide themselves away from political intrigues of the wider world. Not for the Naru. The Naru have a form of wanderlust. They, at a certain age, need to get out into the world and just find their place within it. We're going to find out a little bit more of that today, as our own Tabaxi Naru, Eclipse of the Moon, is going back home with the bones of Silk Whisper, an ancient Tabaxi assassin that was alive and well in the time of Jhoradan the Great. Our own Tabaxi's historical obsession as she tries to find a mysterious object called the Heart of Jhoradan. So, let's get ready to set sail, although I don't think they're setting sail. I think they're going to be teleporting to the country of Oustran in episode 66, The Benefactor. And welcome back, everybody, and hello to the players.
Hello.
Hi.
There's 0 people in our chat.
Hello.
Who have we got? We got some of the usual.
We got no one because we haven't sent out any links yet.
Because we haven't sent out all the links. We can do that as we're setting up.
Don't dismiss the people who might be watching VODs or YouTube just because we've got no one right
That's
now.
very
Yes. We perform
Hello,
as if
future
we've got
people.
thousands.
We value you too. We do.
Yeah.
So
There's 10 of us. Honest.
I'm gonna influence the youth and say a really bad word. Heck. Oh no.
Oh no.
You mean Hex?
Heck?
Yes.
I'm a warlock. Come on.
Oh well. We are back-ish.
So
It's been
You
so
guys-
long.
yeah, it's felt like longer because I'm both working and I'm streaming various things. I've streamed Raft. I've done some D&D stuff. I've done some Star Wars stuff. But now I'm just kind of like, what day is it? What game is it? Which notebook do I need? You know. So yeah, they're all virtual notebooks on my computer anyway these days. I've embraced new technology. So let's get our act together. You guys want to go to Oustran. Very importantly, you want to go to Naruka, which literally means Den of the Naru. So you have these the remains of Silk Whisper, this ancient assassin, and last session you managed to look through Silk Whisper's memories, and you saw a leopard-like Tabaxi who was a representative of the Council of Elders amongst the Naru. So the Naru have no king, no queen. They just have a Council of Elders. And the Elders are kind of... They kind of emerge out of society. I wouldn't say they're voted for as such, but they rise up through peer respect. There's just like a natural order that makes them rise to the top, and suddenly it's just known that they are to be part of the Council of Elders. Also, the Council of Elders is a very loose term because a very loose organization, because there's no set number. There's not like a number of seats in Parliament or something like that. So they don't have a palace or anything, and so this leopard was a representative of the Council of Elders. Back in the time of Jhoradan, he went to speak to an advisor of Jhoradan himself in this large fortress that was in South Vardencourt itself, in the land that you're in. It wasn't in Oustran. And the clue that you got from the flashback was that part of it was inside a mountain, and then they built buildings outside of that. Yeah, so there was like a building that came proud out of the mountain, and then the rest of it was inside the mountain. Obviously, it's been lost to time, and as this leopard character was speaking to this jaguar advisor, it was very clear that the jaguar had lost his mind. He'd kind of started being corrupted by whatever was aiming to, or already had, corrupted Jhoradan himself. And you got told about Silk Whisper's mission. And Silk Whisper's mission was to stick around one of the generals, and that if he showed signs of corruption, she was, even if it cost her own life, to destroy that general. And it's assumed that other agents, like Silk Whisper, were told to do the same by the Naru. So, before you head off to the university has been informed. They have the teleportation circle for Naruka all ready to go, courtesy of the Green Organization. What would you like to do to prepare?
Well, we invited Beat and Garrett and Jacob, so they're coming with.
Yep. So yeah,
Because it was rude not to invite Beatpa when he was there.
Besides, Introducing Beatba to another city, what could go wrong?
What can go wrong?
You've got to take a bard with you to, document your journey of greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yes,
disaster.
we can write a song about us.
Oh, I'm sure he already has.
Mm-hmm.
It's Beatba we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, his kind of thing. He's not the kind of storytelling bard. He is the make you feel good bard. He's the forget about yourself bard.
Another
So
good reason to take him.
Between his crazy movements and his kind of scatting and his jazz minced up with Stomp the Musical type of music style. He's a mixture of a lot of the music that I love and have found myself kind of bopping along to, and I've mixed a little bit of Louis Armstrong in there as well with the kind of scatting and stuff. So a lot of my heroes have been put together in Beat Babadoon, which is why I'm so pleased that I've got art of him now, and you guys loved him. He got to have his shining moment in the Siege of Ostergeld, so that's good. So, as Garrett and Jacob get ready for what for them is a nerd holiday of a lifetime to go off to the Grand Temple of Naruka to see all the vaults with all these different treasures that are within. You also see that Beat Babadoom is choosing between a number of very garish, brightly coloured costumes to take with him, and pants that no Goliath should wear. There's you yourselves are preparing to go back to Eclipse's homeland. Eclipse, how is this? How does this feel for Eclipse?
Eclipse is very excited. She's very excited to see her parents and stuff. Her brother lives there as well. Her two sisters are away, but her brother lives there and he's a guild member, so he has his own store and everything. She's telling you guys all about this.
Okay.
So let me get this straight. Eclipse is looking forward to introducing her parents to her tiefling, her genasi, and her halfling.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she can't bring her human.
No, and she's very bitter about it.
When I was talking to Rodrigo last night, and it was great to catch up with him and stuff, because obviously miss him and that, and I want to make sure he's okay. Karin did kind of shout over the mic, he's in trouble if he does come back, and I was just like, yeah, Eclipse is going to kick you in the head. Okay, anything for the rest of you in terms of preparation?
I need to go reagent shopping. I don't have all my spell reagents, as I burned through most of them for my big powerful stuff, as they have a gold requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to go get.
Sure. You have a good pot of gold between you all. What are you picking up?
I need diamond dust of worth at least 100 gold.
Okay.
I need some. Yeah, it's mainly some nif nav and triv stuff. It doesn't really need to be like
Okay.
RP'd out unless there's other things, but there is a load of stuff that Farewell needs to go to buy. So as long as no one's going to yell at him again for for going to do stuff, he will go and yeah, he will go and.
Eclipse will send Athena with you, so you don't.
A short leash, damn it! You'll be on a short leash.
So if we do get in trouble, I can alert you.
I really don't need looking after her. I mean, I know this
it's not. So if you get in trouble, it's in case we get in trouble.
Your badges
How would I
work within
get
the
you
confines
into
of the
trouble?
city. You're fine.
No, I'm saying if we get into trouble, Athena can alert you that we're in trouble.
Why would you get into trouble?
I don't know, but just in case.
I shoot him a look from behind her and be like, Like,
It's
indicating the
Eclipse.
whole
Have you met her before?
oubliette
Remember
incident.
last time you left us alone?
I love the fact that he got in more trouble for leaving you guys with alone with Eclipse than Eclipse got in trouble for doing what she did.
Well, because we tried to talk reason into Eclipse and it didn't work, whereas Farewell we knew we could at least reprimand him.
You know better. You know better.
Yeah.
It's like when you have like two siblings and have an older one, and the older one always gets into more trouble, even
So
though
are
the
you
younger
trying
one
to
knows
say
more
that
more stuff. Because
I've been either
the older
demoted or
one knows
promoted?
better.
No, you're promoted.
Have I been demoted or promoted from party dad now into
No,
party
you're still dad.
older
You're still
sibling?
father,
you're
Farewell.
party dad. Yeah, you're still party dad because that's why you get told off. Whereas Eclipse is the child and therefore is like, well, that's expected.
Yeah, I kind of see Eclipse more as the kind of, Jack Russell with a LSD problem kind of thing. But anyway, never mind.
I know what dogs you know.
I begrudgingly go get my reagents and do all the things that I need to do to make sure that the plethora of spells that I have work with the fucking owl following me around.
Sure, I'm going to RP only one small part, and that is the diamond dust. The diamond dust, it turns out, you can only get in one part of the city right now. And when you go there, it's a tailor's, it's a haberdashery, it's a stylist. And thankfully, it's not that one. It's not that clothes designer. And as you walk up to it, you can see that on the sign, it says Sable Makoa, articles for the discerning gentleman. And when you walk in there, you immediately recognize a ash-skinned half-elf that you saw before in the Siege of Ostergal, and he was the one who was using his sewing needles telekinetically to attack people. And you can see that without touching either the garment or the needles, he's currently got a gentleman's jacket levitating up in the air, and he's just doing this with his hands, and you can watch as these little sewing needles are going as he's re-hemming it by eye from around about a foot's distance. And once they finish, he starts to he starts to do this with his finger and making the garment turn around. If you try to say anything, you go and then
come on, it's Farewell. Farewell won't say anything. Farewell will just stand there.
So he doesn't even acknowledge you.
Awkwardly, totally notices me.
He flicks his fingers, and the garment just goes onto a mannequin. Yes, sir. How can I help? It's you. Hello. I remember you. Well, you're known throughout the city, aren't you? Sable Makoa, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Farewell, Barebones.
Ah, yes, indeed you are. And I can see you've got certain finery on you. I mean, the smith that made that armor is beyond peer, really. So, what can I do for you today?
I hear you're the one to talk to about some diamond dust?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. Recently had a shipment. Not exactly something that's common around here, used in components for many spells, I know, which means it's bought up rather quickly. I tend to use it for spackle, or what I call spackle. You'll see, and he points to a waistcoat that levitates off the peg and over towards you, and the waistcoat levitates in the air as if it's being worn, so it kind of gets filled out and takes the shape. And you realise that the glitter that's on there, the kind of iridescent glitter, is this powdered diamond. Nothing shines quite like diamonds, sir. Don't you agree? So, I should imagine you need it for other means. How much would you like?
About 200 golds worth.
Of course, of course. Not my entire shipment. You kind of watch as he doesn't bat an eyelid at the fact that you've just asked for 200 golds worth of diamonds, and he's just like, yeah, sure, got it. And he goes to a workbench, gestures at a very heavily gilded drawer that pops open. You think some sort of arcane lock. He picks open a bag, and almost like he's weighing out coffee beans, starts pouring this crushed diamond into a bag for you. Makes a kind of flourish as he's tapping out the scoop, which he does it. And he goes, okay, brings the scales in front of you, shows you the weight that he's putting on, goes, there we go. That's just a little over 200 golds worth. For service of the city, we'll call it 200 rand. Here we go.
I put 20 platinum on the desk and
once again doesn't bat an eyelid, picks up the 20 platinum, holds it up, and then kind of holds it a little to his right. I know you've got a good passive perception, but you're gonna have to roll. Give me a perception check.
Where's all my shit gone? I've tidied and I've just realised I've got no dice out.
Oh no!
No, quite literally, I don't know where I put all my stuff. Well, I'm gonna have to find that in a minute.
Do you want us to roll for you, or do you want to find roll 20 maybe?
Where's all my stuff gone?
Well, that's a nat one, so surely, especially on perception.
Oh, it's not good. It's not good. It's a 10.
10. Yeah, you don't know why he kind of... Maybe he's just catching the light or something. He goes, that will be perfect, sir. Thank you very much. May I ask, do you know any more about the horrible, horrible thing that befell the city? This demonic influence. I mean, clearly we were beset by demons. Was it cults, perhaps? Or some kind of delinquent acts about the city? It seems very strange. It occurred inside the city. People are calm and grateful now of their lives, but who want to know? The truth should be known, should it not?
Don't appeal to tribal sense more.
Farewell's just staring at him like, what?
I meant morals, not morale, by the way. I said it wrong.
24 on insight. What sort of vibe is Farewell getting from this guy?
Ooh, I've got to roll off against you because this guy was deliberately doing something. He was deliberately using a charisma-based stat. So let's have a go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He failed. So this guy is clearly lying through his teeth. He's not just asking because he wants to know because the people are curious. He has an agenda. He has some kind of agenda. He definitely wants to know. When he's there saying, you know, oh, was it a kind of cult? It's almost like he has a cult in mind.
I have a feeling that you know more about this than I do. I'm just a priest.
Yes, I shouldn't have gone toe-to-toe with a priest. Let's just say that there are those of us within the city who have got backgrounds, past stories that we would rather not have catch up with us. We have done our best to make sure that there are no demonic cults or infernal cults within the city, largely for self-preservation. Certainly wouldn't want some of our previous friends catching up with us. And this happening has made us a little jumpy. Funnily enough, especially considering we now have the damn Lenori breathing down our necks.
The who?
Do me a history check.
my dice!
Welcome
I
to a
don't know
city.
where it's gone.
Roll
really
your.
don't.
Do you want me to roll a dice for you? I have a dice here.
No, it's fine. It's just. I'm having one of those moments where it's like, where's my dice?
Well, you don't want me to roll for you because that was terrible.
My dice. History, you say?
Yep.
Somewhere on this list. Help! D&D.
It's one of the big factions, so I've got a whole list of what happens if
18.
you roll 18. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. So you know that the stories aren't true. Linorai are, whenever they're referred to, they're basically laughed at in the taverns as tin hat wearing conspiracy theorists. You know a little more than that, and that the Linorai are, even though yes, they normally kind of look at long shots. They are researchers of anything that can trigger what, in human terms, I guess, would be the apocalypse. They look for world-ending events. Anything less than that, they don't care about. They don't care about wars unless it gets to a certain level. They don't care about politics or intrigues or infighting or anything along those lines. A whole country could be wiped out. Yeah, and they probably look at it a little bit to see if it's important. But their main goal is the big goal, and that is erasure of all life on the prime material plane. Anything less than
Stopping or causing? Stopping or causing?
Stopping. Well, the Linorai are all about stopping it.
They're good guys.
They are only interested in that. Anything less than that, they will just catalogue it and go on. So for the most part, the only time you'll get to see a Linorai is somebody who's just turning up to make sure that the event isn't going to be that bad. And even if it means everyone in the city will die, the Linorai will just walk away again because it's not their job. Yeah. As a result, that's why they're ridiculed. Is that the whole city could collapse. The Linorai just walk off, even though they're powerful enough maybe sometimes to stop it, because their resources should only go to their one and only goal. Yeah, what's the point in saving one city and then failing to save the whole of Eleria? Yeah, they get criticised a lot by people of all stations in life, and anybody who says that they're with the Linorai, sometimes they get laughed at. But you know, with an 18, that they have been incredibly active. It's also fabled that they were at least one of the factions who, at the beginning of the New Order, helped rearrange the timeline and rearrange the fate of the universe here, all the planes that existed. So they're potentially very powerful. And yes, Sable, Makoa has just said to you that there's one in the city. And he doesn't like it one bit.
Kind of in the middle of something really important at the moment, but this also sounds equally important.
I'm sure it's fine. The Linorai will probably just write in their little notebooks and head on out. But, well, they're not beyond interrogating people. I came here to start a new life, and I've been successful. I would like to continue with no persecution.
That's fair. Do you have a card?
But of course. And he pulls out a card and says, "It's good for one message." Hands it to you. This is a consumable magical item where you can send one 20-word message to him, and he can send a 20-word message back.
Oh, thank you. I was also thinking more of a business card because, I think I have somebody that would be interested. Oh, okay, cool.
It's a business card with one-time enchantment on it.
Ah, useful. Thank you.
Only the best for my clientele.
Okay. Bye. And Ifeor turns around and walks out.
Give me one more perception check on the way out.
Ah! Stop asking me to roll dice where I can't find them.
You're playing D&D. Get on with it, man.
22.
Okay. On the way out, you hear... what languages do you know?
I know Abyssal, Common, and Primordial.
You hear very, very clearly, I can't believe we're working with him.
In what language?
In Abyssal.
He's a warlock.
This little squeaky noise, tiny little squeaky noise. Yeah. And you hear that just as the door is closing.
Real pause for Farewell just outside the door where he's just like, oh, don't make me go back in there and deal with that. Don't make me go back in there. And he sort of will look at the owl, because imagine the owl's perched above the street, like on the opposite side of the shop, just like watching, and he's like, Farewell's looking at the owl's looking at Farewell.
The owl seems impatient to go and get back.
And that's the thing, there's this really sort of owl that's just like, I've had like 16 recall messages in the last 10 minutes. Can we hurry this along? Farewell would just be like, fine. And yeah, I will hurry back to the university, as I imagine that will be the better place to meet everybody.
Sure. So yeah,
Now
you've got all the reagents you want. Spend monies and things like that to get that. You get back to the university. And you meet up with each other. If you have anything to say to each other, say it now.
No, Eclipse is just really excited, and but she turns to Gloria and is like, "Don't melt anything."
Just show me the best shopping district, and we'll be fine. I won't need to melt anything.
Don't melt anything or anyone. Specifically, not anyone.
Take away all my fun, will you?
Yes.
Fine.
We're a very lax people. They don't really care what you say as long as you don't try to melt them or any of their possessions. They're quite chill and like new people.
Mm-hmm.
Eclipse.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you say your brother owned a shop?
Yes, he does.
What does he sell?
He sells things from foreign lands.
Yes.
He is a world goods store.
Yeah. He's also he does some woodworking on the side as well, and he sells some of his small figurines of places he's seen. So he would like he carves little scenes into some like plaques and stuff. People like that.
Oh, cool.
He uses his claws to carve it, which makes it special.
Oh, that's cool. Are we
Okay.
bamfing there, Lori? Is that the plan? We're not taking the boat?
Yeah, I already spoke with a representative from the university. We can take their teleportation circle, no problem. We'll be out and back within a day. See, this is why we like magic. It's so convenient.
Okay. Everyone done anything? Everything? I don't know what else to do.
I'm
ready to go,
do my
Kora.
shopping.
I'm ready.
I'm expecting entertainment on our... Well, 6 seconds, I think, through a teleportation, so I'm not sure you've probably got something.
I know,
though,
it's not a proper road trip. We've got to do a proper road trip at some point, you know.
Well,
Horses.
we have a boat. No, we have
rats,
two boats now, so...
2 boats.
Yeah.
2 boats.
2 boats.
Oh, no, that'd be good. Yeah. We got to do it.
Boat party.
Port to port, yeah? port to port. Oh, boat party. For that.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
Sure.
You watch as this kind of animated Goliath bard, kind of, almost always moving, the button, the shoulders always going, is they're just imagining this idea of going out on this boat, going from port to port and rocking out, and suddenly he's just moving again with excitement. You notice that whenever he's excited, the feet and the butt and the shoulders start to move, kind of almost in like a little salsa dance kind of way. And Jacob and Garrett turn up, and they're excitedly talking about the different artifacts that they're going to see. And you can see that Garrett has got out of his wizard garb and is currently kind of dressed in, I guess, what would be medieval safari type clothes. So he's got like a kind of riding leathers, and he's still got a good shirt on and all the rest of it. And he's still got a wizard's hat, but he's in good leather trews, kind of like a suede trews, with good walking boots and things as well. He goes, I know that we're teleporting there, but I want to be ready. I mean, I know it's quite dusty out there, and we might be walking around the temple for some time. So, yeah, and you can see he's excited as well. Bear in mind that Garrett is, in his 80s. He's coming towards the end of his life.
He's human as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's human as well, and even though his magic seems to have kept him in good health, you can tell he's not that sprightly. He's not kind of jumping around. Sorry, actually, he's in his 70s, not in his 80s. So, and he's... no, I'm quite ready. Jacob, in comparison, he's only in his 60s, and he's a dwarf. So, he's middle-aged for a dwarf. And you can see...
Isn't that, super young, because they go to 300 years. So,
sorry, 300 years, isn't it? Yeah, so, in his 60s, Jacob is still pretty young for a dwarf. Yeah, still pretty young. He's a young scholar, as far as dwarves are concerned. And he says, "So, let's get on with it. I'm not the best with teleportation. I'll have to be honest with you. Let's do the thing, shall we?" And Beeper goes up, puts his hand around the dwarf, and goes, "Oh, it's gonna be a rush. Don't worry about it. Come with me." And starts effectively friend dragging Jacob into the university. So yeah, you get into the university, and there's a large teleportation circle, and the university staff member walks up and says, "Tezcatlipoca party." Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all present and correct. Descriptions and weight all seem to be on the mark. And
do you know how to wait?
And
you don't?
Possessions as well. Yes. Okay. We're good. Right. So the location that we are taking you to is the public teleportation circle of the Asoka Hall in Naruka, in the middle of Oustran. So not too far away and on the same plane. So it shouldn't be that rough a ride. If you'd like to step into the circle, and we can begin. The next teleportation is in 20 minutes, so we need to be quick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we go in there and wait.
Okay. There's going to be a slight lurching sensation coming from the midriff as you get to the other side. If you feel a little bit queasy, try to breathe through it. Last thing you want to do is soil one of your traveling companions. So we are ready to go, gentlemen? Yes, okay, we are ready to go. So in 3, 2, 1, and suddenly there's this huge pull, like from the center of your stomach, like someone's pulling you along by the belly button, and your vision blurs, and you go from the relatively cold climate now, because it's the equivalent of November in Ostergard, and suddenly you get hit by this wave of heat and humidity. The smells around you, the air smells different. You don't know if you would have noticed so much if you hadn't done this in an instant. But because you do, you can smell this beautiful scent of jasmine and some sort of citrus fruit that seems to just immediately creep into your senses and give you this sense of energy. For you, Eclipse, you can't really tell anything. This is home. You just feel home.
I smell home.
You're stood in a similar teleportation circle on sandstone. There are intricately woven tapestries around you in this octagon chamber, similar in design to the one that you went into when you went to Atolzaran, but instead of there being pictures and sculptures of the Tezcacotls, there was instead there is instead just these beautiful tapestries, which are all to do with about patterns and bright colours. And walking up to you with a kind of Darth Sidious type hood on is a kind of a dark chestnut furred tabaxi, and she pulls the hood back and says, "Greetings, my friends. May you find new horizon, and welcome back. One of our own, if I am understood."
Yes, Eclipses the Moon. Just coming here for a brief visit to return an archaeological find.
You are coming to bring something to the temple. This is
Yes.
good. Welcome back to the den, sister. Come. And
Anyone a little bit weirded out by the fact that they don't sound like Eclipse?
Well,
It's because I
obviously
can't
not. Eclipse.
I can't keep a constant accent, and Simon can do the Tabaxi accent better than I can.
She walks you out of this teleportation folly and into what is a bustling hall, and you've never seen so many Tabaxi in all your life. Well, apart from Eclipse. They are everywhere. I mean, you've seen Tabaxi kind of traveling around because the Naru do that. But here, this entire hall, easily 70% Tabaxi, and the rest are humans and dwarves and tieflings. And once you get into this bustling arena, you're pretty much ignored. Apart from you, Farewell. A lot of Tabaxi are looking at you, not with a predatory look, but certainly with an interested look, as they're saying, "Yes, what? You're a strange man." And so they are all incredibly interested. And the one thing you notice most of all is the children are looking at you the most. There are a bunch of wide-eyed little kitten Tabaxi children who are looking at the waterman, going, "Father, what is he?
What is the blue man? What is the teal man?
Green!
What is the teal man?
Well, who knows? Maybe the Tabaxi are colorblind too.
Farewell.
Eclipse needs saving. Farewell, where's he gone? Where have you gone?
The first thing you notice about the Tabaxi is that they are incredibly outspoken. They are the exact opposite to being British. They will openly ask questions of you in full earshot of you, not caring that you're hearing. And you're starting to understand, Eclipse, even within a few meters of coming in to the Ahsoka Hall. The Ahsoka, you guys will know, is the ruling body of the whole of Oustran, not just the Naru. The Naru and the Council of Elders are part of the Ahsoka Council. but the Ahsoka Council rule the whole of Oustran. And the Ahsoka Hall in every city is basically the seat of government in that place. And yeah, you're noticing this now, and you're immune to some of this, Kora, up until the point where a couple of the children turn around and go,
No, she's not human, I'm telling you. I think she's halfling. Yes.
No, she's just a very, very small human.
and,
I whack him.
Ow! 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 Right, Charlie
a
horse.
bunch
Charlie
of Tabaxi children just laugh at this and
I wink
start
at
kind
them.
of pushing and shoving each other. Yeah. You do notice a few other things, and that is that some of the Tabaxi children, in order to see Farewell, have actually climbed the walls, and no one has told them to get down.
Yes, because they have a climb speed and can do that.
And they're just there looking from the side, and there's a there's kind of a what would it be? It would be like a ragdoll type Tabaxi child, so quite poofy, just looking at him, kind of going,
He lives on the water, or is part of the water? I'm not sure.
and yeah.
Simon, as I notice like a wall full of like kids, I use my racial ability to create water, and I basically create a 10-foot rainstorm above their head and drop like 10 gallons of water on them. So it's 20 foot. I just drop a load of water.
Spraying the cat.
Drowned cat,
but
look.
thankfully,
So cute.
Thankfully, they don't have the same aversion to water as domestic cats. But they do something kind of thing, and they giggle and start start shoving each other boisterously. You do notice that the ragdoll cat, the poofy cat, gets caught in this and goes from being like this big to this big in no time at all. Just like from the wall. And just starts to shake her fur viciously, and leaps down and gets caught by her mother. So she hisses, leaps off the wall, and without a second thought, her mum just basically puts her arm out to catch her, and she just lands on her mother's arm, and then kind of skitters along to her shoulder and climbs down her back. Apparently, this kind of sixth sense, leaping, jumping, acrobatics is shared by all the Tabaxi. However, you're still being led out of this hall. The hall seems to be... you do notice amongst the people who are in the hall, there are certain people who are dressed very slightly differently. They've got little tokens of gold and silver and things on them. They kind of denote a certain station. This is effectively a Tabaxi office. Instead of it having people sat down at benches or going off into separate rooms, all your business is just aired in this one large hall. And who put that picture on the player chat? Thank you, Felicia. Little dragon. And yeah, you notice that you don't go and speak to these guys in private. If you want to speak to them, you speak to them openly in the hall in front of everybody, no matter how embarrassing your request is. And so you will hear people turning around and saying, no, my divorce needs we need to have it signed. I'm leaving soon. I'm leaving to travel. I don't want to have paperwork waiting for me when I come back. I hate paperwork. And there's a lot of this thing, and people are just saying what they want out loud. And there's not even a susurrus here. It's a full-on market environment, even in this place, which is a bureaucratic center. You step out
this
into
makes so
the...
much sense.
Yeah.
You know when you have those moments when you where like it just clicks and like you comprehend everything.
Okay.
Right.
I have like 15 hours at least of rewrites to do, and this is single-handedly the greatest and most depressing thing that's happened this week.
Okay.
Oh, don't worry, the week isn't over yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like, seriously, my whole theory for, like, Eclipse is just out of the window. Yeah.
See?
I'm very
what a road
concerned that you
trip
had
could do.
theories about me.
Oh, he has theories about everybody.
Oh,
yeah, no, I really
Yeah.
do.
I've taken a sneak
Yeah.
peek on mine, and it's pretty interesting.
Ah.
Glory,
really-
a female Tabaxi walks up to you, goes and runs her finger over your shoulder where you've got a lovely kind of you changed specifically. I remember it from last session. Got beautiful garments on at the moment. She runs like a nail down part of your shoulder, goes up to you, and almost this in the most sultry way just goes, "Perfect."
No, don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do that! Like everyone sort of like rams in between them and like, don't burn her, don't melt her, don't melt her. We've been here 2 minutes. Don't.
Yeah, she says, "Perfect. I must know your tale."
Oh, it is, and I can't remember for the life of me the Fey lady in Ostergard.
Yep. Okay. I haven't got that particular part because I've got all of my Oustran stuff up at the moment. And you give the name, and she says, "I'll put an order in straight away." And she comes towards you, and it looks like she's about to headbutt you. In the kind of cat, cheek versus cheek thing, and then she looks at you, looks you head to toe, and goes, "Thank you," and walks away. You know that personal space is very different here as well. As the Tabaxi walks off, you don't think that she was being rude at all. It's a very different place.
Yes.
Yeah,
Eclipse
very
will be
alien
like
culture.
lying on top of you, and rubbing against you all the time. And now it all makes sense.
Eclipse and Glory have been like just snuggle buddies while on the road. It's
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thankfully, you've been around your own Tabaxi long enough that, as alien and different as this society is, you've got enough social graces, and it's your background as well. Your background is that you're an ambassador. That you are able to just kind of rock with it and go, yeah, this is clearly normal here. What she would, that person that came up to you would be, completely out of order anywhere else, but here it seems to be okay, and you can tell that she was showing some restraint. You leave the Osaka Hall, and you're in a huge courtyard. I don't know if you've got the map up of the city gates, but there is a huge, beautiful court. Not even courtyard. It's like a city centre. You're accustomed to a much bigger one, the parade grounds, the triumph ground, that's in the middle of Ostergard. This one is smaller and just seems to be a place that it's been generally agreed that no one is going to build on. And you get to the center of this, and you realize that it is very much I'm just linking it to the players because obviously you won't be able to see the stream unless you've got the stream up. And you can see that the Ahsoka Hall is this beautiful Byzantine type palace type affair, but with no royalty living there, and that this is for the people. And you saw it was chock full of people. It seems to make sense of it more. I mean, palaces and things like that have always been a envy. This is a thing that belongs to the people. And you take a look, and around about 200 feet in every direction, there's a bunch of shop fronts that seem to be in pride of place of the city. And this is clearly the place. But then as you look at them, they're all selling food. Apparently, for this large open expanse in the middle of the city, only food may be sold. A little bit more about the social etiquette of the city. You do notice that there are certain things that you just won't see elsewhere. You see two male Tabaxi walking along, chatting to each other, and they've got their arm over each other's shoulder. And where ordinarily you'd only really see that if the two males were partners, you kind of just get instinctively that these two are just friends. Physical contact is not something that is squeamish here, and that's shown even more as you walk the streets. And yeah, so Karin, just to give you some ideas, the your home and your brother's home are to the east and south of the city. So your home is in the Den Reaches, where most of the Tabaxi live, and makes up a greater part of the city. And your brother has a shop in the spice market. And then just to the southwestish, there is the temple, which has a huge border wall around it, and a spire that can be seen anywhere in the city. What would you like to do?
Do you guys want to? It might be good to go to the temple first, because I think we're all most excited to see that, especially our guests that we are bringing as well, for Jacob and Garrett. I remember his name.
Garrett, well done.
Yeah, lead on.
If you don't mind, yes, I would like that to be the first port of call. And Beeper goes, "Oh my God, look at this! What's that? I've never eaten that before."
Beeper,
Yeah.
if you want to, you can explore the city. If you're not that interested in the temple, you can explore the city, and we'll just meet you later. Because I assume we will be able to find you. There's not many Goliaths in the city.
Like an excitable child, he's wringing his hands and goes, "Absolutely, absolutely. Garrett, you message me. Yeah, I don't want to miss a thing. You message me when you come back out. Yeah, enjoy your like old things. Hey kiddies, it's me." And he runs off into the city.
Should we have given him a green badge?
Nah. He'll be fine.
I mean, I guess
it's okay.
We'll hear him.
I can message Speedber. It's fine.
Okay.
I've never had problems finding him.
No, I think, yeah.
So, the Grand Temple.
Ten
like
Silver says that he ends up throwing the biggest rave you've ever seen in your life.
Not taking that deal.
I'm talking
because you're absolutely right.
I'm talking like
yes. I don't make bets that I know I'd lose very well.
Yes, like I'm not going to take it either because I think you're right.
So you start heading through the city through a place called the Spice Market.
Do we go by my brother's stall, or is that like further down south?
No, the route to the temple is pretty damn direct. And it's for one of the more successful routes in the city. You can see that the shops there tend to be the really touristy shops. Your brother is more of he's quite a famous curiosity store within the city, very popular amongst the Tabaxi, but he doesn't really care that much for the tourists. He's on a pretty good street within the Spice Market region, but not the main thoroughfare going to the temple. So as you go past, there's a very much again this Moroccan market feel. There are people bartering. There are people being very kind of doing their business in the street. Apparently, in this city, going home is only for sleeping or maybe making some food. But even then, you can see a lot of people eating out in the streets. And anybody who cares to discuss this with Eclipse, she will confirm that your home really is only a place to crash. It's where you curl up with your family and you share stories and things before you go to bed. For the most part, you're out in the city. And so everybody is out in the streets. You get closer to this giant spire and the huge border wall that goes around. And there's two giant gates, easily 30 foot high, and spiked at the top with intricate designs of vine-like metal bars that themselves have leaves that seem to be spiked as well. Remember, this is a race of Tabaxi. They have a climb speed. Walls don't really do much to them, and so they've had to put stuff at the top that's an anti-Tabaxi measure. However, the two 30-foot doors are wide open right now, and you can see right ahead of you the Grand Temple. First thing that you notice, for those who've never seen it before, which is everybody apart from Karin, is that the temple itself on the surface is a small rotunda that holds up this giant spire. The spire itself is just effectively just a landmark to show where the temple is, but the temple itself is mostly underground. You do notice straight away something that's very familiar to you, and that is there are two types of guard. One type of guard is wearing a kind of duelist half plate, all tabaxi. The other types are wearing robes that are very similar to silvers.
Ah.
As you get to the large gates, one of the guard with the half plate on, and you notice that one arm is armored, one arm it is fully duelist half plate, walks up to you and says, "Greetings, my friends. May you find new horizons."
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Did you say something?
May you find new horizons.
Yes, thank you. We're here to make a donation to the museum.
I can tell you have not been from around here much before. Where have you been? Where's that exotic accent come from?
My accent is bad. It's supposed to be the same for everybody else.
Yeah. You've been away for a while now, kid. In the same way that you're a Swedish person who has a slightly accent, your Tabaxi has a Naru accent that's been heavily tinged with Vardencore.
One of us. One of us. One of us.
I must have been in the old empire for a while now.
Ah, yes. I can tell the sophistication. So, how can I help you, Wanda?
We found a very, very interesting archaeological find. It's from before the New Order. It's one of the ancient temple guards. Her name was Silk Whisperer.
He suddenly stops dead in his tracks and says, "This temple?
This temple?
You bring back one of my order?"
Yes.
Priestess! Priestess, please, come! And he brings you in, and you know these guys are all paladins. So, for all the fact that they are all dex-based and duelist-based and all the rest of it, all of these guys are paladins. And he's like, Priestess, please come! And you can see a female Tabaxi comes out of the rotunda, and she has a kind of an Egyptian eye at her throat, which you know is the Eye of Ioun. And she sprints forward.
Same one as on the back side of Farewell's armor.
Yep, stylized slightly different. It's like the one on his back is slightly dwarvish in its design, but yeah, very similar. And she runs out and says, "What is it, God? What is it?" And you can see that she has her hand at her hip, and you can see a very elegant small blade at her hip. And she says, "Who are you? What?" He goes, "No, good things. They are bringing back, apparently, the remains of a god from this temple. We haven't lost a god in centuries." And she looks at you very sober and says, "You realize we know how to detect forgery here, yes?"
Yes. It's not. I'm not bringing it for any monetary compensation. And she was. Her name is Silk Whisper, and she was under a terrible curse. But she's now gone to rest. And we brought back her remains to the temple.
She looks at you and suddenly mutters something under her breath, and goes, "You speak truth. Show me, please."
I take the bag of holdings and pull out the bones.
She takes.
Or it in like in a container? I assume it's in a
think
container, not
they
just like
mummified her slightly, like bandages.
Yeah, she's like
So-
she's slightly mummified and
I
like
can't imagine that Farewell
bring
would
out
like
the container
literally a
body.
pile of bones. So yeah.
No, it's like
It's just-
respectfully.
Yeah, it's
wrapped up
just
in
a
black silk.
potato sack that we then pull like body parts out of and
Is
just
this
go,
a finger?
What? We've got no... Yeah, it's just hold on a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we're missing one. Oh, hold on, I'll be right back and just like start rummaging around inside like the bag of holding for that missing one.
Thankfully,
It's
Dusk
like
wrapped
a
it up
thing.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dusk wrapped it up for you in the same way that they would wrap up any body like this. And so all the bones and things are wrapped up tightly, like a tool roll, as a cylinder, and then the skull is on top and wrapped again with a single piece, so that the skull is only barely visible. And she takes a look at it and says, "If I may," and she puts her hand on it, and suddenly her eyes just light up with divine light. This beautiful golden light coming from her eyes, and she goes, "You speak true. She is one of my order. She is one of us. She is a Lukorta," and she says the Tabaxi word for Avenger.
Yes, she is from. Farrell has some notes on it as well, but she was a part of the temple here, and she was sent to be a spy and assassin with Jhoradan the Great, and she was supposed to help with corruption in the ranks and take out.
Insight check for everybody who is looking.
Oh boy! Time for the fun to start.
It's just history. I rolled good. That's an 18 plus 4, I think.
Well, I rolled a natural 18, so plus 9, 28.
Yeah. I rolled a
28,
natural
yep.
19 as well, Karin.
23.
And I got, where is mine?
22 for me. Insight.
22 as well.
Okay, yeah,
22.
you all see it. Immediately, she goes from being an intrigued scholar to someone who has just, like a light bulb has gone in her head, and she's gone, "With me, please. With me immediately. We need to be out of here before dark." And knowing that the Tabaxi will quite happily talk about anything in front of anyone, she beckons you and is walking at quite a speed.
Oh boy!
Eclipse is happily skipping along.
You walk into the rotunda and you're suddenly dizzy because the inside of the rotunda is a giant set of spiral staircases that go down like the spiral fluting of a barrel, rifling of a barrel, and she goes past two particular staircases, chooses a third, and says, "This way, please, please," and starts to descend and keeps a good distance ahead of you. She's a good 20 foot ahead of you for the entire journey, and when she kind of looks back and notices you're falling behind, she stops only momentarily and says, "Come, please." And
I will hurry up.
Yep. Okay. You can see that both Garrett and Jacob are kind of just looking very kind of confused and concerned, running along behind you.
Oops.
I turn
they
back
know
to
as
them
much
and I
about it
go,
as I do. Like they're my history buddies. They already
Yeah, they know
know
everything,
all of
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I turn back to look at both of them and I just go, I wouldn't worry about it. This happens to us a lot.
Are you kidding? We're
I'll be
intrigued.
right.
Please, carry on.
Like, literally everywhere we go.
So,
They're history buddies. Of course they're intrigued. They're getting to somewhere they probably never been before. In an ancient temple.
So, as you pass one particular person, again another Tabaxi. This Tabaxi is a black cat Tabaxi with a big white splash on his nose, like someone's just thrown like someone shot him with a white paintball right by there, and it just kind of splashes across his face. It isn't a cute. Well, it may be cute, but it's not an attractive thing on a Tabaxi. It does look literally like someone's just splashed him with paint. And as the priestess walks past, he goes, "Something for me, priestess?" And she goes, "I haven't got time for you right now." And at which point he goes, In that case, it is most definitely my duty. I invoke the rights." And she goes, "Fine, you come with me, but you write it down and you make sure it stays with the Oviates. Come." And he's like, "Of course, priestess." And merrily trotting along behind her is this black male Tabaxi with a splash across his face, and he's almost skipping with pleasure behind this now very concerned priestess.
Oh god, there's 3 of them skipping.
She goes,
As Eclipse hasn't stopped since the moment we've got here. And she's like bounding around.
The priestess is stalking. She's not skipping. And you go past a few sub-levels, and you notice that each sub-level has these beautiful vaulted tunnels that go off. And not the tunnels aren't dark by any means. I mean, they are super lit up. These unending flame spells that light up every corner. This place is just a huge a museum full of light. And she goes down one of these tunnels and opens up a chamber and beckons you. "Please come inside." "Yes, you too. You pain in that. Come on, yes." And as you pass, farewell. She goes, "I'll ask about that in a minute." And as Garrett walks past, she says, "Ah, a fellow worshipper." And as he steps in, he presses 2 fingers to his forehead, and she goes, "Ah, a fellow worshipper. I'm sorry, I almost forgot to give the appropriate greeting.
Did I
Please
just
come
get called
inside
that?
and be a lighting."
Yes.
So walks back out into the corridor. So you carry on.
Yeah, so this is as Garrett was walking past. She said, "Oh, a fellow worshipper." Yeah, so he just touches his forehead. She says the same, kind of apologizing. If you're back in the corridor, she says, please come on."
Okay. I shuffle back in.
You do notice that she does check out your back as you walk in. And she shuts the door and she goes, I am terribly sorry. Ordinarily, I would like to declare this to all and sundry, but if that is one of them, then this could be a portent. Okay, please set the bones over here. And you notice that you're in what is kind of a cataloging room. There are various artifacts that are on separate inspection tables with sheaths of notes around them, where clearly people have been studying it and writing down notes about it and all the rest of it before it can actually join the museum's exhibits. And she points to one of the larger inspection tables and asks you to put the bones.
I'll put them there.
So, you claim that one of the Avengers are here in front of me right now?
Yes.
Oh.
Her name is Silk Whisper. Or was.
At which point she startles and goes, "Silk Whisper? Okay, so she would have been assigned to, yes, and she would have been one of the ones who would have, by all chances, survived and gone on to try to kill him himself. Okay.
Yes, it was.
Places her hands out again, and her eyes blaze once more, and she's like that for a good few seconds, and then she says, "It is true. You brought us back. Silk Whisper, one of the lost. Oh, blessing to you, child, and all the honors and renowns that you're getting. But your pardon if I am suddenly very afraid for you. You see, the person who brings back this person who brings them back to us are tied in with a prophecy.
Prophecy? Is this the first time I've heard of it, Simon? Or have I heard
never
it
heard of it before in your life. Yeah,
Okay.
never heard of it before.
What prophecy?
We searched long for Jhoradan once he died. Well, once he was no longer living. And we sought him out. We spent decades. We used all forms of magic, but somehow we were unable to locate him, even though it was said that he built this city in the middle of the Vardencore lands.
And
we couldn't find it.
I will launch into like this thing about the clue and the painting and the canopic jars and how we're like finding things and we have the location. And it's my great obsession, the Heart of Jhoradan and all of that. And also
we are just watching Eclipse being Eclipse.
Yeah.
But being Eclipse in an acceptable place for once.
Kate's video has gone very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, you may want to switch your video off and back on again, Kate. Many people have gone out to look for things to do with the Heart of Jhoradan. They've come back with like a shield from one of his guard or a document that highlights some of his history. You're going to go and try to find him?
I bring out the two canopic jars that I have. It was like, this is pride and this is envy.
Okay.
Envy's actual name is, I have it here. Thakos? Yeah, Thakos.
She looks with a furrowed brow, and because you guys got such a high score in your last insight checks, you can see that she is in the unprivileged position of not knowing what the hell you're on. These two canopic jars, she doesn't recognize them in the slightest. And she says...
Thakos was one of his generals.
I recognize that name, yes.
Yeah, this is part of him. That is, all these things, these canopic jars, is what's needed to unlock the place where Jhoradan is, or the Heart of Jhoradan, anyway.
Oh god, you're on the path. Oh, this is... You're on the path. It's going to happen in my lifetime, well, at least until you die. But and she's genuinely trying to kind of control her breath as she's there. She's looking at these two canopic jars, and you can tell she's terrified of them. She's not even wanting to touch them. She goes, I thought you just found Silk Whisper. You're on the path.
Maybe you should ask her to tell you what the path is and what the prophecy is, and maybe start at the beginning, and we can make sure that, you know. Do you remember what happened last time we did something like this with the city and suddenly a path and strange things happening? History and all of that.
Fine. We can also ask Renata. She knows time.
No. Don't talk to Renata. We ask her what this is. We then decide whether or not we need to be involved, and then if we don't, we fuck off. And
I don't think I have much of a choice, Farwell, but okay.
But okay. Yeah, okay. Fair.
Yes, but yes, these two, so this is a part of the general. I will give these to the museum once I've found everything else.
The optimism and confidence with which you say that, up until now, that this priestess has acted as if she's the one in charge. When you're saying that, she's now kind of like wide-eyed, looking at you as if she's deciding whether you're awesome or insane, right? And she's.
Okay, can you tell me what the prophecy is? Because I've actually that's the first time I've heard of it. And what do you mean by the puff?
You have a feeling that if this was the real world, this Tabaxi would be pulling out an inhaler right now, and she says, "Okay, well, I mean, Silk Whisper is I thought you were just bringing Silk Whisper. Okay. And she kind of she brings her fists to her mouth, composing herself, and she says, "We are in the wrong room. We are in the wrong room." And she scoops up Silk Whisper and kind of gestures for you to take the canopic jars. And
I take them, put them back in my bag of holding.
And she goes off to a nondescript piece of wall, runs her claw down a particular brick, and Diagon Alley style, the bricks go chink, 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 revealing what is a less well lit spiral staircase. And she gestures for you to follow. By the way, you are giving Garrett and Jacob the moment of their lives right now as they're going through the secret part of what is the best museum in the world. This is better than the Ashmolean. This is better than the Louvre. This is like, full on. They're having their own angels and demons moment. And so
it's all right. I've got 4 diamonds on me. It's perfectly fine. If he drops, I can have him straight back up, like you wouldn't even notice. I could do it as he was falling.
Pours diamonds onto his hand. Clear.
That's a 300 gold defib, motherfucker.
I will send you a bill on the outside. It's going to be 600 gold because we're Americans.
That's canon now, is that when you do the crushed diamond defib, you're using it like a chef uses salt. It's like, bam! Seasoned, motherfucker, get up.
It's that Salt Bay moment. It's like that. But it's like, there's no NHS in Ostergold. It's all private care. We're billing you for that. So it's 300 gold for diamonds.
With 100% markup, because why?
Why not? Why wouldn't it be? So it's 600 gold for the diamond. It's 1,000 gold for my time. Of course, we had to use equipment. So that's another 250 gold.
You weren't on the platinum plan, so you have to pay the advance payment. It's a whole thing. You go down this ornate staircase and end up in what seems to be part of a genuine temple now. Even though they call this a grand temple, most of it's a museum. But now you're in a part that definitely, you get your temple vibe, farewell. And you get taken into a room which has these beautiful, beautiful carvings. They are actually fresco relief in stone. And it's all Jhoradan. It's like hieroglyphics. It's instead of it being hieroglyphics, this is almost like photo perfect wall to ceiling fresco stone carvings. You can see that Jacob is almost in tears with the level of mason artistry that's going on here. And she gestures and lights a brazier with her sacred flame. It says, "Okay, you have brought back to us a portent of our shame. For all Tabaxi once, we hid because we found out very early on the cruelty of the mortal race. Most of the Tabaxi still practice this today in order for them to know the kindness amongst their own people. They have had to eschew others. An irony, no? But not the Naru. The Naru decided to be the one part of our people who would be out there in the world, who seek out the good, to seek out those who would show altruism and cooperation and world peace. As such, we go out, compelled with a Gaius that was given to us a great many years ago by a goddess, no less. Not my goddess, the great goddess Melora. To go out and seek the children of the world and learn together. This is what it is to be Naru. However, the cruelties of the world caught up with us It is our sacrifice to go out into the world and face all the dangers therein. We are made for a great many things. We are agile, able to escape, able to hunt if necessary. But many of us die. There was a dark time for the Naru, being that we were the only presentation of our race, and also the fact that we resemble a creature, and she runs her fingertips over the fur on her face. We resemble a creature that is considered to be a luxury asset for some people. We found ourselves very quickly enslaved, especially by the old. They would seek our kind as a good-looking slave. We allied ourselves with many people, with the Chainbreaker, and we were free once more. But that wasn't enough, even though the Ahsoka came together, the tieflings that we could trust, the human races that we could, tribes coming together as one, Oustran, united. It was not enough for some of us, and they were slaves to be freed. One young general, a powerful, charismatic warlord, Jhoradan, he stepped forward and said that I will go out there and I shall free everybody who is enslaved.
Sam, you're cutting off a bit. Can you turn on push to talk so you're not cutting off?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that he did. He met his promises and then some. When he saw the cruelty of these pre-Vardenkor lords, these petty, fighting, feuding individuals, he realized what needed to be done. And he became something good. Hope. He was the shining one for the longest time, bringing light into the darkness. He became a champion of so many gods. Pelor himself blessed his blade. Ioun gave him insight, dreams, into the places that he must go. Melora blessed him with strength. And he was the lion. He who would be the first Tabaxi king. But then, corruption. The cruelty that we sought to get away from. The ones that we knew that we had to face in our travels, but hopefully reverse the tide, ended up like insidious roots, boring into his followers, into his people, into his crusade, and then finally into Jhoradan himself.
He got corrupted by his advisors, as much as I've gathered.
And they in turn corrupted by others.
Yeah. One central person around this was Lilith as well.
Yeah. You have already started to gain knowledge about Jhoradan. Lilith was a beautiful elven woman. And yes, she sought him out. But it is said that she, above all else, was the most corrupt. The best at hiding it. So there is a prophecy. That which will release us from our shame. Pick up.
What is this prophecy?
That one day the path shall be revealed. Many have gone out to look for Jhoradan, but if our best investigators could not go and find him, what help would a bunch of wanderers do? And yet, Ioun told us that one day it would be a wanderer that would seek the path, and that they would have a chance to walk the path to its end, to find Jhoradan and relieve us of our shame. The Naru have not shown cruelty. We have not been in any wars other than those that we have defended our homeland from.
We have never sought coin or power. The only things brought back to us by humble people guided by the gods. They're the only treasures that we know. That, and a pretty good sense of trading. We never once needed to turn to war. So, you have found the signposts, the waypoints. They are referred to by so many things.
And she points to your bag. Those jars that you refer to, they are milestones along the way. They will lead you to the sunken city and to Jhoradan himself.
Yes. That's pretty much... We've figured that they were the keys to getting there. We have the location of the others as well. It's just getting there and guessing correctly, because each of them is guarded by a general. As far as we've been able to gather, they're guarded by one of the generals that have been cursed and is still there. So it's a dangerous mission, but one that I'm very happy to do.
We needed to protect our lands when these things fell. As each of these great Tabaxi fell to corruption and no longer became Naru, the Council of Elders were unfortunately forced to do something that we do not do lightly. We made them nameless. And you can see both the priestess, the Oviate, the black cat with a splash, who's still there, he still followed you, and Eclipse. I'm gonna force feed you this. When you heard the word nameless, there's a look of shock on Eclipse's face. There's nothing worse in Naru culture than losing your name.
I always wondered as well why they had pretty non-Tabaxi names. Or is it just a thing that happened later in our culture? Or do I know that, Simon? That is a thing that happened later.
You don't know this, so yeah, you can have that answered. She says, yeah. There was a fashion back then, especially amongst the followers of Jhoradan. They wanted to be like the great empires, and so they started taking names like the great empires. Many of them were wanting to rewrite themselves in history. When we made them nameless, they were no longer able to return to the shores of Oustran. So powerful is the magic here. A Naru without their name can never find their way back. And if they were to walk these streets, they would not recognize the people, the places. They would walk around as if mindless, witless, until they left once more.
I assume when they say they make them nameless is they get rid of their... like the magic gets rid of their original name. So, because Jhoradan is not his original name, you can still call him that. And
yeah, so they were called something else. Jhoradan is a name that would have been his name. It actually translates to something, and the name Jhoradan means shining one. So he was called Shining One by the priestesses and things. The magic of the Naru, when they give you blessings and ask the gods to keep you safe on your travels and things like that, everyone takes that blessing before they leave. But you know that being made nameless is a Naru curse. They can curse anybody this way, and it means that your name is no longer recognized on in the country of Oustran. And as a result, there's something about the magic here of being nameless that means that you can't recognize where you are. You wander around the streets not knowing which direction you're going in, taking random turns and things. You're just completely confused and addled for the whole time that you're here. And eventually, if you can find your way onto a ship and go to another country, you'll get your wits back. But yeah, they effectively made it so that none of Jhoradan or his forces could return home. As a result, they didn't get any of the corruption.
Forced quarantine, social distancing.
Yeah, they put up a divine quarantine around their country, which meant that anybody who had lost their name couldn't come back.
Right.
And that eclipse of the moon is why they ask you to name them. Because if you name them, they can go home.
Yes. I've found pride and envy so far. I didn't get Envy's name first. I hope saying it off.
His old name does not exist.
No, I meant I didn't say the correct new name first. But I said it afterwards very quickly. I hope that is still counted.
It doesn't matter what you call him. You named him. Each of them that you name, you are listening to and allowing them to forgive themselves. He might be disappointed in the name that you gave him, but that's up to him. He can deal with that himself. Clearly they have some sort of penance that they have mapped out for themselves, that when somebody walks the path that they can finally be identified for their sins and will exonerate them. But to tell you the truth, the only thing that really matters is that they are penitent. When you name them, the gods will either accept them or they won't. Sorry, did you think all this time that you had some sort of quiz that you had to get the right answers for? That would be somewhat cool.
Yes, because a DM.
Because your DM's a dick.
To be fair, it wouldn't be the first time that the gods would have done something like that to somebody. So the fact that she was willing to take that on speaks volumes about her, more than it does speak about the plight of them. So perhaps not be so mean.
Oh, I'm not being mean at all. I'm amused, but I am not being mean. I think it is to your credit, Eclipse of the Moon, that you had spent so much care and attention listening to them and naming them appropriately. Yes, but no, the gods would not be so simple as to just expect you to name what seems to be currently a list of sins. It's more a case of understanding what sins they had and then naming them. You could name the next one Buttercup for all you care. He may disagree with it. They're all male, by the way. They usually are. Yes, he probably would not like being called it, but you will have named him nonetheless. And so General Buttercup can go off to the gods with his shame intact, you know? So I would not worry so much about this. What's important is that you listen to their sins and decide whether or not they need to be named. Who knows, you may come across one that should not be named and deserves to be nameless.
Please don't piss off the dead spirits by calling them Buttercup.
It is so tempting. You don't know.
I'm worried now because I'm pretty sure that Karin will have some sort of rhyming naming convention or something.
Yes.
If you had a choice to name Merrick Buttercup, would you?
No, I would come up with something infinitely more cruel.
Exactly.
But that's my flaw, and I'm only doing that because he's a colossal dick. These people are trying to be redeemed.
I'm not gonna call them Buttercup. I'm gonna do and find their sin and name them after it if they deserve it. If they're being like they're making more of a deal of it than it was. If they are, as I said, if they deserve to be nameless, as in they weren't as bad and they shouldn't be named after that sin, then try to make that call. Fuck you, Simon. Fuck you, Simon. Fuck you, Simon.
That's okay. I was half expecting you to turn around and go, okay, from now on, it's happy, sleepy, dozy. Ooh, you're a feisty one. You're going to be grumpy.
Grumpy. You're all baddie.
Bob.
Baddie
They're all
1,
Bob.
Baddie
Bob,
2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So, yes, you now walk the path. Unfortunately,
This is very
the prophecy says that one shall walk it. It says nothing as to whether or not it shall be you who succeeds or somebody who follows in your stead. We are told that this is going to be a most deadly path.
Yes.
We have noticed.
That
It
was
was-
kind of obvious.
And I
Oh,
sort
this
of
is not-
guessed toward the skeleton on the table in front of us.
Yes.
She was quite feisty.
Yeah, she tried to. She was very stabby and tried to kill all of us, mostly me.
But it's fine. I turned her into a duck.
And then we took her to a table of Raven Queen and had her go to. We had her released from this state. Of course, she was cursed.
You do notice
soul
that
is
the
no longer
black
here.
cat laughs under his breath at the duck. You can see he's having a little kind of asthma attack in the corner there, trying not to laugh out loud. And even the priestess is looking at you as if to go, a duck? You turned a priestess of the temple into a duck? And you can see that she looks at you and goes, you carry with you such strange company, Eclipse of the Moon.
Normally they call me strange, but they're all really strange. They're much stranger than me.
They are very strange individuals, and
Says the one who has ended up in jail the most of us.
And almost
notice-
executed.
In an evil society, I am not. I am not ashamed of going to jail in an evil society. I think that's actually a point of pride.
And you watch as both of the other Tabaxi in the room stand up a little straighter, crane their necks a little, which is kind of the equivalent of kind of, shoulders back, boobs out kind of thing kind of thing. For them, it is kind of just standing up a little bit taller on their kind of bowed legs. And they're kind of like, yeah, damn right, if we go to an evil society, we'll call them out. The terrifying realization that Eclipse is not, it's not because she's Eclipse, but most of the Tabaxi are like this.
Explains why they're so rare back home.
She says, this is the way, this is our way. We bring truth, we seek out the innocent, we speak that which cannot be spoken by the oppressed. This is what it is to be Naru. You follow the path well, Eclipse, and you surround yourself with people of great power. I would know more about them. You, sir, and she gestures towards Farewell. You carry the mantle of the Raven Queen, but I noticed the symbol of my goddess upon your armor. And she gestures to your back.
I kind of whisper to her, and say, don't worry if he's really awkward, he's just really bad at talking.
It is kind of almost half wink as she goes, it's okay, I've got this.
Farewell just looks a little hurt. Like, Eclipse is just
I then go and hug Farewell. I then go and hug Farewell.
Oh dear.
It's alright, Farewell. You just speak to the priestess. You can do priest stuff. Father.
You just had to.
I thought we agreed we weren't going to be calling me that.
Yep.
Well, at least it wasn't the D word. So
Eclipse says nope, and then leaves.
you
I
carry the
mean-
gods along with our wanderer, yes? You keep the gods alongside our child as she walks the path.
Yes.
Right.
she stares at Eclipse and goes, "Does he speak common?"
Yes, he does. He just needs a little bit of time.
She gives a nod and kind of looks back, and she doesn't say it too surreptitiously either. You do hear it full view because again, Tabaxi culture. So you bring the gods on this journey with her.
Coincidentally, I'm not one given to divine providence, personally.
And yet
They are far too fallible and forgetful for that kind of stuff.
the gods are only gods after all.
Well,
We can make
there's
money.
a good portion of them that used to be people, so that's kind of why they're bad
Indeed,
at their jobs.
you worship a once mortal god. But after all, no matter how good the smith is, they can make 100 swords in their lifetime, 1,000, and yet just because they made them doesn't mean that they can wield them all at once, or even look at them all at once, or pick them all up at once. The gods are the same thing, far more powerful.
Speaking of
than any
smiths,
of
I
us.
mean that's her work, not mine. That's why that's there.
An Ioun smith. Interesting.
She wasn't until she made that armor. That's the thing. It was quite interesting. We thought Farewell had knocked her up.
Glory! Glory!
The smiles on the Tabaxi faces are unashamed at this point, completely unashamed, and you can see that the black and white bard takes a look at Eclipse, gives him the most shameless wink and a nod of approval, as if to say "good on you" kind of thing, Yeah, they don't seem to be embarrassed at all. They seem approving.
Yep.
I am suddenly remembered why I do a lot of these things on my own. And
Let's
not...
believe Farewell. Let's believe. This is not Eclipse, by the way. This is me.
Well, it sounds like you have had a great adventure either way, getting your armor, Mr. Barebones. But either way, for a smith to pay obeisance to Ioun when making a piece of armor, that is a scholar's armor, capable of far more than I think you know. This is good.
As you said, it was really strange. Do you want to see it, Farewell, or should I explain?
You don't need to explain it all. She seems to kind of get it already. Bear in mind, she is a priestess of Ioun.
Yeah.
She goes,
but
Ioun touched that armor for a reason. You will find her walking with you. So, you have the gods. Tell me, ladies. And she looks at both of you two. She seems to have got that Garrett and Jacob aren't part of the main kind of crew because they're stood to one side, whereas you've kind of just congregated. And she says, so ladies, what do you bring to this child of the Naru's path?
Kora's common sense.
Well, I am, if nothing else, glory. But mostly, I prefer melting things. And Glory just, summons some acid around her fingers. Like, the normal party trick of the Tezcatlipoca.
Yeah. There's this levitating, deadly liquid just kind of slooshing around her fingers. And the Tabaxi doesn't like what she sees one bit. She just goes, oh, I should imagine that is very useful. and looks immediately to Kora as if she's done with you.
Fair.
You get ostracized. You get ostracized.
And you, my child.
What do you want to
Have a
know?
charisma 22.
She's
That
our
does
admiral.
not translate.
She's the commander of
admiral?
her own fleet and a knight.
Eclipse cannot keep a poker face
An
on.
admiral
Double
and
over
a knight.
laughing.
Yes.
She has many titles and many important things and is a very
He's a
important.
lover to a fae.
There's again
We
a nod
didn't
of
really
approval
need to, like,
both Tabaxi, and they go, and the priestess says, "Well, do I call you sir or admiral or?"
No. You can
Sir
call me
Admiral.
Kora. So
No.
what? No, Kora.
Kora, of course. I did not realize that we had someone of such importance and renown upon this journey. I thank
I'm
whatever
kind of
nation you
looking
represent.
slightly past her at farewell, thinking like,
But she's definitely a knight.
On behalf-
Admiral.
On behalf
Well,
of the Naru, I thank your liege lord for allowing a knight to accompany our child upon her wanderings. To have an investment
I am
from a
sure
separate
she
nation.
doesn't mind.
She blanks you.
Fair.
To have
I tried not to
another
gloat.
nation to ally with us. Please, where do you hail from?
a land of the free people.
The home of the brave.
So,
The summer court, isn't it, Kora?
No, we don't hail from there.
Well, no, but you're a knight of the summer court.
Yep.
Oh dear.
the priestess is a little confused that you're not quite sure what you're a knight of.
Well,
and
I'm just like, I'm just indicating to what Eclipse said is like, sure, yep, that is me, sort of thing.
In her defense, I mean, it is a relatively new thing. I mean, it's only sort of, you know, in the last sort of couple of months or so. So, you know, we're all kind of getting used to the new jobs. And I mean, she only became an admiral. I mean, like, how many days has it been since we found the second?
About 2.
5.
6 days ago.
Is it?
You were not a man.
What the hell have we
Oh,
done
sorry,
for 6
3 days ago. You
captain.
set off 6 days ago. You found the second boat 3 days ago.
Oh, I see,
yeah.
yes, because it's
So
3 days
so-
to get back. Okay, sure, fine,
Yeah.
fair
Yeah.
enough.
So she's only technically been like an admiral for like 3 days. So it's all very new for us. We're
I'm
all
very good at
sort
it.
of trying to figure out
I
how.
see.
She is very good and natural. It takes
good,
to it
good.
very naturally.
Doctor.
I'm afraid I don't know much about the sea. I know that the Naru, obviously, are island nation, so the Naru do have to use the Kojai. The Kojai, you guys never heard of these guys before because you haven't got a seafaring background. Actually, sorry, Farewell will have heard only that they are seafarers. The Kojai is just a word that the Naru use for the free folk. Karin, so you know what the Kojai are. It's just Tabaxi word for free folk. It's the just the free folk sailors on the sea as part of the Seven Sails. And she goes, but I know little of it myself. But congratulations on the amassing of your fleet. And as far as being a knight for only a short period of time, the fact that you won your spurs at all, to go through those trials, those vigils, all of those things, I am humbled that you are guiding and protecting our child of the Naru.
I just grabbed
so essentially
Eclipse and just like, yeah, she is safe with me. Thinking about her in the oubliette.
You can trust Kora. She's very, very sort of trustworthy. She's got, as you can see, that
Very sort of.
You know, a lot of people put her faith in her, and you know.
He is one of my best friends, so yes.
Indeed, Mr. Barebones. This is all making sense now that a knight with her chaplain coming alongside our child as she finds this path. It must be part of the prophecy. It must be part of the portent that we should come together at this time. And the corruption that previously took down Jhoradan is going to be expunged by the friendship of these nations. She even looks at Glory with a slight better look on her face now, kind of going, yeah, this one must be along for the ride to see how it's done, kind of thing. And she says, this is wonderful to have figures of such renown to come along and a fleet. Clearly you're not just walking along this path just with a small group of friends, and you have these advisors as well, at which point she suddenly turns to Garrett and Jacob and says, but of course you have amassed
such imposter syndrome here, everybody.
You've amassed such an organization around you. I can even see that you have these...
Yes, the Green Organization works for us, yes.
And she points to the Green Organization badges and goes, you even wear the same symbols. I'm so pleased. You are going to, as a group, as an organization, expunge the one source of shame amongst the Naru people. This is the means for celebration.
Whoa. It's more of just a group thing. So it's mostly just us working on it. It works better with small strike teams than anything else, and I like bringing, because it's kind of my obsession, and I like to bring these people with me. This is Jacob and Garrett. So Jacob is an archaeologist. He's helped me a lot with this.
And Garrett is an historian. Yep. Garrett is very cool. Is like, Madam, it is an honor. As a fellow worshipper of the All-Knowing One, I am at your service. May we stay in correspondence? She said, oh, of course. We will make sure. We shall make sure of it. And Jacob walks up and he goes, Guild of Archaeologists, glad to meet you. And she goes, oh, but of course, we know many of your guild here. Please stay as long as you want. And Jacob's like, oh, I will. and she says, yes, and basically, even when you turn around and said, oh, it's not quite an organization, you said the word small strike teams, and you had her at that. That was it. You've noticed that the Black Tabaxi has pulled out a notepad and is scritching down furiously everything that he's heard.
Oh dear.
Yes, it's us, mostly. It's these guys help us, and we have some other people helping, but it's mostly just us. There's not many other people. So don't think we're huge. It's mostly just us. Sorry for that misconception.
We don't need anyone else, though. But, ma'am.
How can we put that?
Well, you've mentioned this prophecy a few times. What is this prophecy? Could you relay it?
Well, that's what
Simply
she said.
Just that one of the common folk, one of the Naru, going off on the wanderings that we are all compelled to do, shall find the start of the path to free the heart of Jhoradan. Those words exactly, to free the heart of Jhoradan.
Oh,
and
that's it.
Once again, bring our people back into harmony, to erase the only shame that we have ever known.
Can I make a suggestion? Don't make a big thing out of this. This whole, getting really excited that we're going to lift the curse. We're working on this, and I'm not saying we're stopping, because this is important to Eclipse, and we all want to help her, but I don't think it's a good idea for you to tell, the entire city that Eclipse is going to fix this, because that would be a little crazy and could be bad for her.
Of course not. The chances of you all being horribly slaughtered are so high. So we would not want to place that kind of mantle on you all and bring the hopes of our people. Historically, years to come, whether you succeed or, as I say, are terribly tortured and meet a horrible demise, you will be part of the start of a great tale throughout history. The fact that the prophecy is coming true at all is wonderful. Think of this moment seen in the eyes of those who will come hundreds of years from now. They will know your names. The Oviate is over there writing your very names down. We will not be spreading it. This is why I brought you into these chambers. We'll not be spreading it today, but your tale will be told. Whether you succeed or the other, you shall be known.
Eclipse is nodding.
You shall be remembered.
Yes. The main thing, though, was to bring The main thing why we came here today was to bring Silk Whisper back, and I'm very happy we were able to do that.
Of course. And we shall have, as I say, we shall celebrate her life, the lives of you all. And we shall do this quietly here. You have the run of the museum. Please enjoy its many, many exhibits. And we shall also set her to rest amongst the other gods of this temple that have spanned thousands of years.
Yes. I don't know if she's... I don't think... well, I would know this. How... Is she one of the older examples, or is she just a, like, middle... Or... Because I know she's not... Because she's before the New Order.
Yeah, she's thousands of years old. I mean, this is a big find. This is a huge find.
Yeah.
Shall we use this moment to take a break? As we are already...
Yes,
I was about to say, we've hit 10 o'clock, so... Yeah. Half an hour over to our usual break. You can all ask questions of this, and also, this is the biggest and most comprehensive museum in the whole of Eleria. If you want to look up the history of anything, you can do so here. This is a potential for you to unlock parts of not just Eclipse's storyline, but any of yours if you ask the right questions. So have a think of that, and we will take a 10-minute break.
Woot woot!
And welcome back, everybody. So, when we left off, the party had managed to go to Naruka, literally the den of the Naru, a city in the middle of Ostergald, an island nation, exotic and Moroccan-like. And they went to the Great Temple, very much a part of Eclipse's backstory. It was in this temple that a very young Eclipse went to see the Jhoradan the Great exhibit that is here and many of the artifacts, and it's where she met a mysterious kind of Tomb Raider style thief that set her upon her path. This is something that she hasn't shared with many people, and since then has been very much an obsession of hers. So she's been following for a thing called the Heart of Jhoradan. They've come to this Ioun.
Is everyone else hearing robots?
No.
No.
Oh, shit. It's just me. Okay, you carry on.
Based not on the bones of silk. That's all it so it's Kate's net connection going. Gloria's last choppy. With the canopic in.
I'm not getting a very good signal here, sorry. Wait.
Okay. We're just switching the. Yeah, Kate's the producer, so we're just switching the server now to see if we get a better signal. You all look better to me.
It looks like it on.
Kate, we can't hear you.
Yeah. You're all good. Carry on.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Good.
Okay.
Nice. Well done.
So you're stood there with Garrett, your historian, Jacob, your archaeologist, the priestess who has yet to name herself, a black cat oviate who, once again, has not named himself, and the four of you. She, after going through this very kind of haphazard kind of fangirling about this prophecy and this history, takes a moment and she takes the small circlet that she has from her head off and sits down and says, excuse me, this is so much. I was only supposed to be covering the entrance today. Please,
I'm sorry.
My name is Shadow of the Lost, and this one here, and he kind of purrs in her direction shamelessly as he's still writing things down. This one here is Ember of Hope. So, questions. You come here seeking knowledge. Everyone comes here seeking knowledge. What can we tell you? We know of all of Eleria. Our people have been going out and collecting stories for as long as the Naru have existed. We can help you in any of your research. And Garrett and Jacob say, well, we mostly just wanted to go around the museum. We came here in general interest. I mean, this is fantastic, and we will, of course, keep working towards this. There's a lot of enigmas and code and so on to get there. At which point Shadow goes, yes, many have tried before you and got so far. They left their various findings in works of art, prose, clues to find for those who seek them. And Ember says, "Indeed, even we at the Oviate do not have all that we need. Although I'm filling in many of the gaps now. I would like to speak to you, Mr. Garrett, if you are the one who is unraveling most of this mystery. The Oviates cannot abide by mystery. You know that the Oviates try to find the truth of every matter. Even if the truth can't be spoken now, they record the truth for history. They are also under the... hello, Minion. They are also under the direction of Ioun, the goddess of knowledge. So she kind of places the bones of Silk Whisper off to one side and beckons you back into the inspection room. You close off the part that goes to the religious part of the temple, and you're once again in this large institute of knowledge and history. And she says, "Please, ask whatever questions you want. This place, you are honored guests."
Have you heard?
What kind of questions would you like to ask?
Have you heard of the Eye of Paradox?
The Eye of Paradox. Yes, yes. A great piece of artifice.
Remembering.
Yeah, it's in my notes. I have that in my notes. It's about the only thing I have.
A great cartel of artificers put this thing together. It is said to be an eye. Well, it's not an eye like a small eye, but an eye that would fit in the palm of a hand. You slip your hand in behind it like a gauntlet, and by flexing your fingers open, you open up the eye, and the Eye of Paradox apparently will negate any magic, any form of will imposed upon the earth. No one refers to it as the earth. Any form of arcane or divine will that is being subjected to the prime material plane, the Eye of Paradox will counteract it. It is considered to be the most powerful magical artifact that is capable of counterspelling in the whole of Illyrian history.
Do you know where it is?
Alas, I do not know. The Eye of Paradox has been lost to the centuries. If it was possessed by anybody, you would know about it. People would be singing of this person. They would be of a hero of such great renown, or a tyrant of such great fear. To be able to go up to anybody, regardless of their power, and to be able to negate all magic within its sphere, it's a terrifying thought. Most of the magic users that we have working for our nations, the powerful ones at least, are the ones who are enacting law and order. This, in the wrong hands, could be devastating. But yes, I have heard of it.
Do you know anything about something called the Shattered Glass?
You can see that she's struggling with this one. Walks up to a book on the shelf, takes the book off, opens the book, and the book is all the pages are empty. And she focuses on it, and you can see that suddenly sweat starts to collect in her fur as she focuses on it. She goes, "This book is mostly a loss to history, very difficult to find. It's protected somehow by strange wards, but there are a few copies. Why were most of them destroyed? I do not understand. It is a love story. A love story that does not make sense. There is no forbidden knowledge here, no forbidden lore. Why would somebody spend so much time and effort protecting
It's about
it?
a time traveler.
Yes, there's a time traveler in the story. Again, she's showing great...
Would it help you if you held one of the copies?
She looks up from the book and goes, "You have a copy?"
Glory pulls it out from one of the bags of holding, like, just like,
Did you
here.
have it, or did...
I don't know who had it because we were all in the book club thing.
Yeah,
so
we
you're
were
gonna
sharing
walk
it
up to whoever
around
does
so we
have
all
it,
could
right.
read it. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd let that happen. I wouldn't want to leave it here necessarily, but yeah, I'm curious what would happen.
we'll let her lend it to her so she can like look at it, but we want it back.
She takes hold of the book, doesn't bother opening it, puts it. I can't do it with my hands because I'm on push to talk now. I hate push to talk. Puts it between her hands, concentrates on it. Her eyes flare, and she goes, "This is a book that is meant to cover the life history of a particular person, but to do so behind enigma and code, so that they can recall their history, whilst others will think it's simply fiction."
We've figured out some key figures in the book. So there is, let's see, it's in my notes somewhere. Not there.
We have notes.
Ophelia,
I have notes.
Ophelia and Lucrezia.
Yeah.
Ophelia,
and Lucrezia, but there are some like input. So Skyfang is in the thing, and so is someone called the Empress, the Empress of Skarra. So it's a very old book. And also,
so
it mentions the head of the Oviettes, Belanaris, a very old one.
At which point Ember leaps forward and goes, "Let me take a look at that." And he looks at the at one of the things. He goes, "Indeed, yes. I know who this time traveler is now. They are in our records."
Oh, do you? Can you tell us?
Anything you can tell us about them? Because
they are referred to mostly as the traveler. They play with time as if it is some sort of ball of string. They tie it into knots that serve their ends, use it to manipulate and maneuver themselves into positions of great power at times of great significance throughout the timeline. They make sure they are at places where they can get the most power, the most knowledge, the most advantage, so that they are able to continue their luxurious travel through time. They are ageless, and by that I mean they are not immortal, but they are not subjected to age the same way that you or I are. And they do this by cheating. They do it by moving from body to body. Well, it is distasteful. But all I know is that they have used many methods to keep themselves able to traverse time. In one case, they gave birth to themselves.
Oh, wow, that's so creepy. I do not want to imagine how to.
By many people, they are considered to be abominations. And the Empress that you refer to here, she was a priestess of Skalra, way back in the old holy wars of Skalra. She represented Tiamat, and he spits on the floor at that point. And it looks as if the priestess is about to tell him off for spitting on the floor of a temple, and then she spits on exactly the same spot. And they say, he turns to say, yes, she would dally with anybody who would meet her ends. So accustomed as she is to manipulating people, so accustomed as she is to making sure that they see exactly what they want to see in her. I say her. She is usually her.
Oh, yes, that was that Empress, but also Heart's-Reign, which is different. Her name was different.
Sorry. When you clarify, yes, that Empress. Yes, she was a guardian of a great power, an artifact. and she ruled with an iron hand. Though a chromatic dragon herself, it is said that she was so strict in her imposition of law.
But she's bronze. She's not chromatic. She's bronze.
Sorry, metallic. I meant metallic. Yeah. Thank you for the correction, though. Even though she was a metallic dragon, it is said that her heavy imposition of law and order was as tyrannical as many an evil tyrant. Her levels of conquest caused more deaths than the simple rampaging of other dragons. And yes, this traveller consorted with her as well.
I think we need to have a talk with the boss, guys.
Oh, please. We've known that for a while, Eclipse. That's why we haven't been telling her things.
No, I mean, we need to talk to her about this. We know about she's told us, but we need to know more.
At this point, the Ember gives the book back to Shadow, and Shadow says, "There's something else beneath the text. A second. It's like a signature of memory. No, a signature of knowledge. Yes.
Ooh.
If I can just follow it." And you can see as her eyes start to glow once more, she traces her fingers over the page lightly. She's not reading it, but she's kind of picking up the narrative from the page and kind of almost absorbing it through her skin. She gets about 2/3 of the way through the book, and you notice that her nose is bleeding.
Oh.
Whoa.
Shadow.
Stop.
No, I've got it.
Yourself.
I've got it.
I put my hand on her, and I'll cast Cure Wounds at level
2.
No, level 1.
Okay, level 1. Sorry, we didn't hear the level. That's why we're waiting. Well,
I suggested something because I thought you were
healed something. Farewell, you think you have healed something, but you can see that her eyes are going slightly bloodshot as she's going from page to page, and she's they say, "It's here. It's here. I can see it. It's a." And you can tell she's getting more and more punished as she goes along, and it actually feels like she's being punished. You're just getting that feeling all of a sudden, all of you. And she's there saying, "Oh, this is wrong."
I snatch the book out of her hands and throw it towards Eclipse.
Okay, I would like you to make
any more payment.
Make me an acrobatics check, please.
Can it be strength based?
No,
nope.
It's Farewell that's pulling the book. Acrobatics check, please.
Son of it. That's not terrible. 18.
You beat her by 2. She's there. She's wobbling back and forth, and you just snatch it out of her hand, and she goes, and just stares into space for a few seconds. Goes, "Now I know. Thank you, Farewell. That is forbidden knowledge, forbidden by the lady herself." I
pass the book to Eclipse. It's like, so I'm not tempted to read.
It called to me.
Back in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
What forbidden knowledge? Knowledge?
And she just goes,
"Knowledge of what?"
The only one that is known to be forbidden knowledge by law. There are many specifics, but there is one, and the context of the book, of course. That book.
Chronomancy.
Primes you for chronomancy.
Oh.
It's not just a lesson. There are secret societies that put their lessons within books. This is a primer. This is a book that, and that's why there are books out there. That's why she didn't erase them all. If she loses her knowledge, this book restores the knowledge to her. She tries to get a copy of this book,
Oh shit.
reads it cover to cover, recovers her memories and recovers her knowledge that is forbidden by the gods.
Well.
So we should be finding these
Well,
books and destroying
out of
them?
character, it's good that we stole her copy. Or one of her copies. But she knows we have it, so I don't know.
Yeah, and seem to have no
doesn't?
problem with you having it.
Does she know we have it?
And that is
Yeah,
the
previous
more
conversation.
concerning part.
She said, "Oh, well, you got the books, keep them."
Oh, I don't remember her saying that. Okay.
This is like a backup battery of knowledge, like a storeroom for the things that she knows, so expertly woven that those who simply try to tap into it suffer and are not able to get all that she could. But all she needs to do is connect with one of these books herself, and she is able to regain everything. All her knowledge, all her memories. This is one of the ways that she is able to cheat time. She must have these hidden all over Eleria. Very well. We have learned much today. And you can see at this point, he's probably about 20 pages in, Ember, and Ember is continuing to scratch down everything with quite a nice looking pen. And she says, "What else have you got for me? I will help you with everything I can."
I think
Clearly,
that's it from me. I really want to go and see my parents very soon because we have half an hour left.
Yep, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, there was only one thing I wrote down one thing, but that doesn't really matter. We can just
go for it. Go for it.
We
This
don't
is
have
the
to be in back
knowledge
before
sharing
the
session,
end of
so-
the session.
Yeah, you can spend another session here if it's getting you things that you want. And the priestess turns to you, Shadow turns to you and says, "And what can I do for you, ally of Eclipse?"
How safe is this temple? From
That is a
others
loaded
looking in.
question.
Oh,
It's not ominous at all.
This temple is warded. Nobody may teleport in or out, and nobody may scry or remotely view in any way. This has been the way for thousands of years.
She probably can't see this then. Good. I want more information on my family. Or rather, I'd like to know what they don't let us know.
Ooh.
Wow. Somebody's just opened up the engines. Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Sure. You want to ask about your own family?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'm a Tescacotal.
She takes one look at your belt, obviously remembers, obviously knows your symbol, and says, "You wish to gain advantage over the other Tescacotals."
Indeed. I'm perfectly aware that there's lots about our family that they'd rather we don't know.
Ask your questions.
I want to take the place of my aunt. I'm sure you've heard of her. Ideal. Or rather, Insight is my aim, but Ideal will fall with her.
Very well.
Sure.
Your Aunt Ideal, as we have followed her, as he has followed her, and again, Ember kind of salutes with his pen, just taps his pen to his brow, and carries on writing. We know that the Tyrant Queen speaks directly to Ideal Tezcacotal. Everybody thinks that she speaks to Freynier, your black dragon patron. No. He is just another dragon whelp to her. But Ideal, Ideal even scares Freynia, for she can hear the many whispers, roars, and laughters from the tyrant queen, from her place in the hells. She can hear the machinations.
But she's imprisoned, isn't she?
She is. But just because a god is in prison does not necessarily mean that she is powerless. There's varying degrees of imprisonment. After all, Torog, the screaming god, speaks to his followers. Tharazun, the chained god, babbles.
I think Torog is the chained one, and Tharazun is in the
No, I got that backwards
one.
before. So, Torog is the god of torture. He's the screaming one because he's the one who got broken in the Dawn War, and his followers are the sadists that refuse to kill him and give him his final piece because he's holding the Titans back. Whereas Tharazun is the chained god and is the one that's chained up, looking like a maniac in a straitjacket and screaming out into the world.
Because he's in the abyss, in his own plane.
Yeah, in his own plane. And Torog is in the Shadowfell. The Underdark. And the figurine that you found in that penitent temple had a figure of Torog that was then plaster cast around it of the figure of Pelor.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
So she says, yes, he fears Ideal Tezcacoatl. He has a lot of power, true, but let's just say that both Freynia and Ideal have come to an agreement where they would never fight, because if they do, first of all, they do not know who would win. Second of all, it would be the end of Atal-Zaran.
Indeed.
You are
as much.
wise to go more for your Aunt Insight. Although she is the one closest to you, is she not?
Indeed.
She was your mentor.
How did you know so much?
She's a knowledge cleric. Why do you think I've
She's a knowledge cleric, and her Aunt Insight has basically one of the best libraries in Scalra. So, you know, a knowledge cleric knowing about the patron of a library, she knows quite a lot. She says, yes. Insight, however, isn't about the raw power of your aunt. Of your other aunt. Ideal may be manipulative and powerful, but Insight is the one that weaves the webs. She has a complexity that Ideal is unable to fathom, and Ideal would not move on anybody with that level of complexity. If you wish to bring down either of them, the best thing you could do is pick apart the complexity around your Aunt Insight and establish yourself as the new brains of Atal-Zaran.
Yes.
That is all I know. I have profiled your family carefully, if only for the fact that there are certain artifacts in your nation's possession that I would rather be in the temple.
Oh, I am certain there is.
Who else seeks knowledge?
I would like to roll an insight check on Glory.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay.
If
what are you trying to figure out?
Well, I don't know if I needed to sort of ask something or whatever, but Kora is wondering why. I mean, she understands the game in a sense, but she wants to know why this, because I thought she was already being brought up to replace her aunt anyway. So I'm
She
wondering
is.
why
But
she
she
wanted
has
this
to
information.
play it correctly to even get that position.
Yeah.
Just
but
because
I'm just
she's
wondering
brought
why,
up to
why
do it
she
doesn't mean
wants
she's the
this
only one.
position. To what end? If I can get anything, that's
That's
quite
a bit
ask.
loaded for trying to figure out from this exchange.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking
I
the
think
question to the
my
DM.
curiosity is she genuinely trying to find an advantage, or is she simply looking to find out how much this place? No, like, do I believe that her motivations are genuine? Because obviously it's only
Okay.
insight. It can only give
Yeah,
me
that one. Okay.
it can only give me that
is-
much detail.
Yeah, because insight rolls aren't like mind reading.
Psychic,
But
yeah.
definitely, you can decide. You can kind of do an insight roll to decide whether you believe that Gloria is asking the question she's asking, or is she asking a question which is actually something else. Like if she asks the question, "How much do you know about my family?" they may not be forthcoming. If she says, "Tell me about my aunt because I want to displace her," that's something that that can hide her true intent. So.
I just feel she already knows this information. I don't know what she's learning that's new. So why she asked the question?
There we go. In that case, I would say roll your insight checks. I'm not going to answer. Felicia will answer depending on the numbers rolled.
Mine's in the Benefactor chat. You can see what I've rolled. Because I want it all open, honest. No bullshit.
Oh wow.
I found them, and they
27.
have favoured me for finding them.
I only got a 12.
Okay.
Farrell knows all.
Farrell knows all.
Okay.
What was Kora's question?
Why this question? I didn't understand why this question was being asked, because I feel like this information was already known. You know that your aunt already talks to Tiamat and things. I don't understand what's new about this. So, like, I guess how you respond to this, does it feel like new? Does she react like it's new information, or I don't really know. I can't figure out how I'd get this information.
You think Glory is... you perfectly believe what Glory is selling, aka that she's curious about this. Now, Farewell, your thing was, is Glory being truthful?
Is she genuine in her motivations? Yeah, to overthrow her, or is there more behind?
Oh, there's definitely more behind it, but there's some truth in it. You're sure of that, but it's still a mixed bag because, yeah, Glory's not clean cut like that.
All these emotions, I don't know what to do with them.
Interesting. Farewell takes out his book, makes a few notes in a couple of the margins, turns to a fresh blank page, writes something down, tears the slip out, folds it in half, hands it to the priestess, and goes, I'm terribly sorry. I think with all the excitement and the chaos, none of us asked what your name was. And names are such important things. Oh, did she? I'm sorry, I must have missed that.
Yep, she's Shadow and he's Ember.
Ah, cool. There's a couple of things that we need to do here in town for Eclipse, and that is a rather general question. So you might need some time, and Farrell does sort of that thing where he sort of puts his finger in front of her eye, and he's just looking at pupil movement, and he's like, you also need a lot of rest. So we'll be back through before we leave, unless anybody else has any more questions, but I think now's a probably good time to go say hi to some family.
Indeed. Come back when you're ready. I will make sure that this one, and she kind of jerks her head over to him, will be on hand for you as well. In the meantime, scholars, please enjoy the museum. And Garrett and Jacob bow and walk out of the inspection.
Please answer the question on the paper. Thank you.
what's the question on the paper?
I'll message you.
Okay.
Cool. Well, Eclipse, it is almost dinner time. You wanted to introduce us to your parents?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Whilst I wait for Nick's question, you step out of the temple, now leaving the bones of Silk Whisper behind, but you
I what?
Okay. Before you leave, the priestess takes a look at the piece of paper that Farewell gives her. She looks at you and suddenly nods without saying anything, crumps up the piece of paper, and in her open hand, the paper bursts into flame.
I've got to
We shall
learn that
speak
one.
again. We shall speak again, Farewell.
Thank you.
Push to talk, Simon.
Yep, yeah, I was just changing between stuff. Again, I hate push to talk when I'm DMing.
You
So,
should just
you
change it
step
to
out of the
lowering
temp-
your noise gate then,
Yeah, I'll
and
do that now.
mute instead of push to talk. We'll flip it round. It's much better.
There we go, much better. So my finger was getting achy. So yeah, you head out of the temple and back into the sprawling city, and all the prophecy and portent and various threats that you have got yourself involved with, either willingly or by design, or just by rotten luck. Now you're walking back into Naruka. You're surrounded by people who are stopping to talk to friends and neighbours and colleagues and all sorts. And this seems to be the way of life around here. Nobody seems to be in a rush to be anywhere. In fact, it's part of the busyness of the day to just be speaking to people and stopping to make time for people. And a lot of the personal conversations that you've had with Eclipse start to make a lot more sense. It's just how things are. Eclipse starts to walk with a certain level of purpose through the city as she starts to, I guess, what's the mental version of muscle memory? I guess it's just memory. It's just instinctive memory. Walking the pathways of when she was a child. And would you like to go to the shop first or to the house?
Whichever is closest. I
Okay.
would assume that's a shop.
The closest to the shop. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shop
Yes,
was the
I was just making sure I heard you right. You said the closest was the shop. Yeah.
Yeah, the closest is the shop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you walk up to a shop, and it's got in a kind of Tabaxi language, which is very kind of it's almost like an alphabet that's made by using claws scratched onto wood, but it does have in common storm at sea, worldwide and beyond on the side. So it has storm at sea in the in major letters, and then underneath it says from around the world and beyond. And you can see that there's a lot of people milling around, both outside where some of the goods have spilled onto the street and seem to be on tables, and there's rolled up carpets and various other bits and pieces. There's a couple of statues and things as well that are just outside. And there's people spilling in and out of this rather large shop. It's more of an emporium. And it doesn't look like one of the major outfitters that you would find in Ostergald, what I guess is equivalent of the merchant version of a supermarket. Instead, it is just a large and very well-to-do shop. So, and yeah, you watch Eclipse just walk straight in. If you follow her, you will find yourself surrounded by what seems to be a really stylishly arranged bric-a-brac. This is like a bunch of bizarre stalls have been bought out and placed around you. You can see things from all over the place. Now, the most well-travelled amongst you is actually Farewell, who has been part of the caravan. Yeah, really, really. You travelled from Atalzaran by ship to Ostergald. So yes, you have a good.
Yeah, but we established that Glory had traveled around some before that,
Yep,
arriving at.
You did travel around, but he actually travelled more, and not only because of the route that he took, but also the people he was with. Where you are pretty well travelled. I mean, you come in at a close second, Glory, but Farewell travelled in a traveller's caravan. And so they brought stories from all over Eleria. And also, bear in mind, these are planar travelers as well. They originally came from the plane of elemental water. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that he's just picked up as part of his background. And but even both yourself, Farewell, and Glory can see that there are tapestries from Khantoum. You can see that there's quite clearly Scalran styles, dresses, jewelry, things like that. In fact, Glory, you can see that there's Atalzaran jewelry. Not many pieces. There's like 3 that you see in amongst this huge bazaar of pieces. You can see wooden icons, totems from Garandal. You can see these sand weapons. Fused glass swords and spear tips from Jaspera. Lots of things from all over Eleria, and you can see that there are strange-looking items that seem to be from the elemental planes as well. Even some strange clockwork devices, geometric in design, that are currently kept in glass cases. Yep, you call out "see," and you can hear someone going, "No, I am telling you, this is genuine. He was a horizon hunter, able to slip between worlds, and he managed to get hold of this and bring it back. And how he did not die in the process. Eclipse." I would like you to.
Is he also a snow leopard like Eclipse?
Eclipse, describe your brother.
No, he's not a snow leopard. I'm gonna come up on the spot here. He is more of just a white cat, like just white. He doesn't have any spots. It's just a white cat with some blue like eyes. Blue. He has some kind of blue undertones in his coat.
Yep, and piercing blue eyes. Very attractive looking cat. I mean, he seems to have his stuff together. Whereas Ember, as I say, has this big splatty. He looks like a mangy kind of alley cat. C, as you can see, and the shop is just named after the trader. So where it says Storm at Sea, it's just named after him. And he kind of cranes his head above the people he was talking to and goes, "My dear sister," and he leaps off one of the display cases, wall runs over the crowd that are looking at various things, detaches from the wall and leaps down on her, colliding with Eclipse and rolling on the floor with her, and suddenly headbutts her in the same way that a cat normally gives you kisses, and goes, You're not dead. Good. This is good. And you're good. All limbs attached, I see.
Yes, all my limbs. I still got my tail. My tail is still one piece. I haven't lost any of it.
Good.
I mean, I did have to stitch it back on 1 or 2 times, but who's counting?
He's lying.
And he turns around to you and says, I don't care if he's lying. If he's been patching you up, he's been doing a service to the family. Storm at sea, and you are my friend. What is your name, my friend?
I'm Farewell Barebones.
Then you are a friend to me. And he gives you this huge body hug and says, Welcome. This place is your home. Please.
I was wondering if I could get a closer look at some of these, and I start pointing at the ones that I'm pretty sure are from the elemental water. Can I have a look at those?
Of course. And he passes you what seems to be an assortment of gemstones, and these are kind of roughly tumbled gemstones. He says they are part of the Crystal Palace. So there used to be this giant palace in the plane of elemental water that used to break from the water and go up many stories high. And we're talking easily 200 foot above the waves. The waves would crash against it and nothing would bring it down until there was this almighty war. And then this crystal palace was shattered, and it was the pride of the entire plane. It was dashed against the rocks, and the pieces of the crystal, they tiny little pieces, they would be buffeted by the waves against the sand and the rock and the sand and the rock. And now all that is left is these small, and he picks up this tiny little opal, what looks to be an opal-sized gem. And you can see it's kind of aquamarine, and it's not actually aquamarine, it's like a light blue. It's like a very, very pale blue. And you can see that it's rough. The outside is it's like somebody's been at it with a very fine sander, like wet and dry paper. And he says, this is all that's left of the Crystal Palace. However, scholars try to use their powers when they touch this to try to remember moments from that time and rebuild the history of the Crystal Palace and those who are within. Compelling, no?
Yeah. He's definitely Eclipse's family member. I mean, I just wanted to look, and I got all of that. This makes so much sense.
Yes, these are my friends, and I think we're gonna introduce all of you next session because we're at 11 o'clock.
We just hit 11 o'clock. Yep. So as you get the. We are going to leave you at Storm at Sea's Bazaar in Naruka in the nation of Oustran, and finish up with your visit to this exotic nation next session. After which time, it's back on track. No more procrastinating. I'll have some more main plots to throw at you.
We're not procrastinating. We're
procrastinating. We're doing.
You're collecting
really
data.
important
stuff.
Yeah, you collected a lot of information today about the about this, but my point is,
and a lot of information about Renata. I was like, that should we tell them that we know who it is?
Nah.
It's important clip stuff. We need to do this.
I must admit, I expected more of a reaction to the "it's fabled she gave birth to herself once."
I said, that's really weird. That's really weird. It's really weird. I don't want to think about that. That's why.
Nothing is surprising me at the moment.
I mean, honestly, it's not that odd when you count in magic. I mean, magic does some weird shit.
I mean, she probably, because she's also a high-level wizard, she's probably using the spell Clone. So
probably.
Or a modified version of it, but some sort of clone spell.
To mechanics, it's roughly the same effect as well.
Yeah.
So, question is, does the new Renata want to immediately kill the other Renata, as the clone spell does?
Yeah, that's the thing. When I was looking at the clone spell, I was immediately reminded of Dragon Age and the story of Flemeth, and I was like, well, it's not really the same as Flemeth doing about it, but the way that common folk would, the second they hear she gave birth to herself, what the hell? I wanted them to misinterpret it that way, but rather than just retelling the Flemeth story, this is actually something quite different. Although the more I know about Flemeth now, the fact that she's kicked around for a long time and meddled in a bunch of stuff, I'm like, yeah, her and Renata, kindred spirits, I guess. Just a very different way of how they do things. So, yeah.
Oh, she's always in positions of power and like involves herself and stuff. It's like, yeah, we know her.
So, a big thank you to some of our old followers and some of our new followers. Hello, Sean, Seekian. It'll be a pleasure to do another one shot with you soon. And Januga Thunderlord, Minion, Thanglad, we've just followed you back, so thank you for following us. And thank you for joining the chaos with us today.
And also all of the people lurking, because I can see quite a few today.
Yeah, there's...
Lurks are not bots. I know Lurks is a bot.
Don't call them out.
But...
People who lurk don't want to be called out.
No, that's fine. It just you're appreciated too. And to everybody who is watching this on YouTube, to our community guys who can't always watch it when we stream it, but definitely catch up with the YouTube at the moment. Another hello to Chris Winter. I know that you follow these videos quite heavily, and last time you heard me mention you, you're like, oh my god, it's future me, past me, future me. I don't know. I'm writing a time traveler storyline. I'm still getting the tenses wrong. But yes, thank you for joining us. But you can join us a little bit more if you wish. Now that I've fixed the link below that goes to Discord, by all means, click that link and be part of our community, because as you will have seen by some of our one-shots, we do one-shots with our viewers, especially at this time of isolation. It's driving me nuts. I'm sure it's driving you guys nuts too. So click on that link below, say who you are from the stream, and join the chaos. So I think that's everything. I don't think we're going to raid tonight, but I want to start doing that again. It felt good when Kate raided that miniature painter earlier. That was lovely. So we'll try for a raid next session. Until then, stay safe, take care, and normally this is the part where I say see you same time next week, but we're going to be streaming a hell of a lot more than that. So just keep in touch, and we will see you on stream soon. Good night.
Night.